Welcome to Studio Hockey. My name is Ernst Baart, and I'm joined by my co-host in this podcast, Jaspreet Singh. Studio Hockey is all about domestic and international hockey, and together we make sure that we look at our game of hockey from both a European and a more Asian perspective. Our guests for today are Jude Menezes from New Zealand and Ijaz Chaudhry from Pakistan. Welcome both. Jaspreet will introduce Ijaz in a little while, but allow me to do a first quick introduction of Jude Menezes. Jude is the current director of hockey in Auckland, New Zealand, but he started out his hockey in Mumbai as a goalkeeper. He represented India as a goalie in the Sydney Olympics and two World Cups before moving to his new home country of New Zealand. There he was on the coaching staff for the New Zealand women's team, and after Tokyo, he took on the challenge as the head coach for the women of Japan and led them to the Paris Games. Following Paris, he returned home to Auckland, where, as we mentioned already, he is now the director of Auckland Hockey today. Welcome, Jude. Jaspreet, can you introduce? Yeah, Jaspreet, can you introduce our other
Yeah,
guest?
I was waiting for your long and descriptive introduction about Jude, which was very apt. And I would like to take it from here and introduce my good friend Ijaz Chaudhry from Pakistan. Those of our viewers who are not familiar with his name or his face, he is a very learned figure in the hockey circles in Pakistan, has served as the media manager of the Pakistan Hockey Federation till 2019. And we have been friends for long, and he has been writing very informative and very in-depth articles on the state of hockey in Pakistan. So there's none better than Ijaz Bhai, who can give us a sense of where Pakistan hockey is headed. And when it was in 2018, if I'm not wrong, Ijaz Bhai, when Pakistan refused to play in the Premier League because of some fund crunch or um, some sort of disagreements in the board. Uh, but same situation it is now. Pakistan have received an invite from the FIH to play in the Pro League. But New Zealand refused to come because of their own reasons, which later on Jude might be able to reflect on. And Pakistan is in the middle of a little crisis, fund crisis, and we are hearing that Pakistan Cricket Board may come in through funds that they get from the government for their youth program to fund the Pro League. Take us through that.
Yes, this field and the very idea of Pro League was, you can say, took birth. So when I was the media manager and I did everything, you may say, attended the meetings and I convinced them to include Pakistan. At that time, if you remember, it was like home and away, not like what we have today, that is in 3 legs or 4 legs. And because of this
Right, right.
terror, no one was ready to come to Pakistan. I'm a British national. I've spent a lot of time in the UK. And Sally Monday, the CEO of England Hockey at the time, she knew me. So I requested her to have Pakistan home game in the UK. She said, okay, not in London, of course, since that would be England's home. She talked to the Scottish hockey, and they were kind enough to have Glasgow as our home. And then we were accepted, although our ranking was 13, but I convinced them since Pakistan's past history, hockey is still number two to cricket, though are very far behind. And the prime minister is ex officio, the patron in chief. So I was able to convince them to include Pakistan. Then we made the itinerary. Pakistan first 3 legs were in the southern hemisphere: Argentina, Australia, and New Zealand, and rest was in Europe. Home games in Scotland and other, as you know, England, Germany, Belgium, Holland. So, but unfortunately, and everything had been finalized by July 2017, And the first match was on January or February 2019. So Pakistan Hockey Federation had 18 months, year and a half, to carry out what was needed, the funding and everything. And they knew how important it was. But just, if I'm not wrong, about 2 weeks before the first match, they told the FIH that because of the financial constraint, they won't participate. It was very embarrassing for me as well. Like, I had done all this Scottish hockey, they had made all the arrangement and everything. And they were fined also. The Pakistan Hockey Federation was rightly, they were fined. And now coming to this time, they had this opportunity. You can say luck played its role in a second, and then New Zealand they withdrew, and now again this financial thing. Actually, Jaspreet being an Indian, and Jude also as he spent time in India, you know how things go in our part of the world. In India and Pakistan, part may not be that much aware of all this because this federation, so it doesn't enjoy any uh, credibility. They already, if you want me to go into depth, this very president, Bhupti, he was a handpicked choice by the caretaker prime minister who came to oversee the elections. He has no background in hockey. And he himself, the caretaker prime minister, admitted in an interview, unashamedly, sorry to use the word, that I only picked him because Bhupti, he is from the caretaker prime minister's province, Balochistan. So Balochistan, this was the sole reason. And you will be surprised to know about that his know-how that when Pakistan, it was probably last year, when they won the bronze at the Asian Champions Trophy, the president was there and he insisted he should also be given a medal. As even a child knows that it's only the players and the officials who are on the bench, the coach, maybe video. So that's okay. Then the secretary, Pakistan, hockey is a two-man show operationally, president and the secretary. Secretary Rana Mujahid, yes, he was a good player. He was a member of the 1994 World Cup winning team, but he had a stint already as a secretary general 2013 to 15. And that was the time when Pakistan failed to qualify for the Olympics for the first time. He was dismissed on allegations of corruption. They're still pending against him. And this Bhupti, the president, when he assumed the charge, took the office, in the very first press conference, he named Mujahid, this secretary, Bajwa, Shehbaz, and the presidents who were sitting in the PHF over last, you can say, 10 years, Mr. Rasool, Bakir Hoker, that man sending their name to the ECL, that is the executive control list, that they won't fly out of Pakistan or they are pending. And same thing happened. Just a few weeks later, that same Rana Mujahid was Secretary General. So government has no faith. They are reluctant. The money private sector has no faith. So they are crying for funds. And still, it is not clear. As you know, I Jaspreet knows. I don't know if Jude and Baart that today there is a news that Pakistan Hockey Federation has been successful convincing FIH to extend the deadline. It has been extended from 12th August to 20th August that they will give their information for participation. But whether the government is ready, and they also say that they are confident, they have sent their case to the government. Pakistan Sports Board has said no. And they have now directly approached the ministry, IPC, which looks after sports. So it remains to be seen. So this is the can say the present scenario.
I think no one could have laid it out better than how Ijaz has, right from the history in 2017-18 to now. But as you said, that the deadline is going to be pushed for advanced to August 20th, if I'm not wrong. And can you hear me, guys? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, Yes,
Okay, but but
we
but but,
can.
but there is another angle in it of the Pakistan Cricket Board. Uh, we have heard that the Pakistan Cricket Board is going to release some funds with the help of the government to help this Pro League season, so that Pakistan can participate in it. How much is that being talked about in Pakistan?
Jaspreet, this is just hearsay. No official statement, even from the PHF, that they have approached the Pakistan Cricket Board, not from the cricket board. It is just maybe one or two former stalwarts. They have, you can say, suggested. Since cricket board is the only sports body in Pakistan which is self-reliant financially.
Hmm.
So, but whether it first it should come on the PHF in a, officially, mm, not yet. So it's just a hearsay that a couple of former stalwarts, you can say, they have suggested that they, because most people, including myself, we want Pakistan that they have a chance to join the mainstream after a long time. They want Pakistan to be participating in this poly, right? So that's why some people are saying that if not government, if not Pakistan Sports Board, then PCB may be the savior. But this is just, you can say, hearsay and just a little bit in media. Also in some, you can say, some WhatsApp channels, not in some mainstream newspapers even, it has not been mentioned.
And before Ernst brings in Jude to have his thoughts, one last question, Ijaz, I have for you. Yesterday, I think Mr. Bhupti held a press conference, or maybe issued a press release where he said that I and Rana Mujahid are not going anywhere. So those who are saying that there is another faction trying to oust the current office bearers, that is not true. We are not going anywhere. And then there are unpaid dues of the players lying right from the Nations Cup and the national camps as well. So, what gives them so much of thick skin to say that they are not going away when all these matters are still unsolved?
Yes, but sorry to again to use the word. If you are shameless, sorry to, but that is the correct word for them. And they are trying to fool people. You must have read in that very statement that there has been improvement. Pakistan was 18th when we took over. Now we are 12th. So that is a white lie. When this Bukti chap, he came as the president, Pakistan was 16th. And today, you can check from the FIH website the ranking. Pakistan is 15th, right? So, as you know, especially Jaspreet and you, because they know they have some political backing from the government quarters. So that's why they say we're not going anywhere. So that's how things go in this part of the world, right? Everyone knows. How can you hide these things in today's, when you just have to click and check what they are saying, and then they are blowing the trumpet. Look, we finished second in the Asia under 18. India was not there in the under 18 Asia Cup. Korea was not there, right? And they defeated minnows like Tahiti, Sri Lanka with big margin. They struggled to beat China 2-1. They won the semi-final in this shootout. They in the final, Canada, sorry, Japan, which is presently ranked below Pakistan, they outclassed Pakistan 3-0. And then the Nations Cup also, luck played its role. Of the five matches, they won just one match, right? They won the semi-final on shootout. That is also, as we all know, is counted as a draw, right? Uh, and in the final, they were blown away by New Zealand 6-2. And then again, we finished second. And I am surprised that even some journalists, they were coming on TV, look, we are revival. And I knew some, and I just said that it is, first of all, you realize it's a second tier tournament, it's a qualifier for this. And you could see that no top team, Belgium, Holland, Germany, there is not a rocket science. And then you can see that they just one match, and every time, just so Pakistan hockey is back on the track. Revival is there, so they are not. It is difficult even to for their survival. The domestic structure is completely as compared. In my lifetime, when I was studying law in school, uh, hockey culture, as in India, Jaspreet will hear me, will agree with me. There was like what we call Mohalla colony. There was a hockey club in every colony. The schools, colleges, university. Now in Lahore, which is a big city of say 15 million people, there are just I can say 5, 6 centers of hockey where they play regularly. So the interest, how you attract youth to sport?
No, we
Glamour.
completely agree with you. Completely agree with where you're coming from, and I think it's an apt moment to bring Jude in because he's been waiting in the wings for a long time, and I'll bring in Ernst here to just throw his questions at Jude now.
Yeah. Jude, so when you were the coach for Japan, I guess you would have been very happy to participate in the Pro League. So now we've learned that New Zealand is opting out of the Pro League with both men and women. They were both qualified to play the Pro League. For the women, Ireland have accepted to replace New Zealand. And so, as we know, for the men, it might be Pakistan, as we've heard. Um, so, what can you tell us about the decision of New Zealand to opt out of the Pro League?
I think it comes down to financial. It is quite expensive traveling anywhere from New Zealand, so that played a big part in it. And I think to be fair to the rest of the hockey players in New Zealand playing across different levels, spending that much of the budget is almost unfair for the rest of the thing. So it doesn't align with what we're trying to do. Though it is great to play top level hockey, right? You want to play against the top teams in the world because then you can measure yourself. But unfortunately, I think finance is probably the biggest reason why we are unable to fill those.
Yeah. So, what sense do you get of Hockey New Zealand's promotion of the game of hockey in your country? Because, yeah, internationally, you always have easy pathways to the World Cup and the Olympic, being a part of Oceania. Uh, and you even had the chance of being in the Pro League. But so how do you grow the sport domestically when there's less opportunities now from the promotion of international games?
Yeah, so domestically, we've got quite a big number of people playing hockey in New Zealand, based on the population size. So over 80,000 people playing hockey in New Zealand, around 15,000 in Auckland itself. So it is quite a popular sport, and with the teams, we do have a lot of national championships and tournaments internally, and so I think New Zealand hockey is doing everything it can to keep the level up, and both teams winning Nation Cup sort of proves that we can still compete with the top teams in the world. So we're now looking forward to Oceania, and playing against Australia, and then qualifying for the World Cup. So that's the next focus.
Yeah, no. Um, what can you tell us about your role as a director of hockey in the region of Auckland in all of this? Because I can assume, like in other parts of the world, you also lose young players to more popular sports like rugby or cricket. So how do you deal with that, and how do you bring those youngsters back to the game of hockey?
Yeah, that's an ongoing challenge, Ernst, because it's only a small population, many sports vying for prime time. So, but hockey, we've managed to stay afloat, if you like. But sports like football are gaining popularity now because they hosted the Women's World Cup last year, and it's really boosted the sport in the country. But hockey is still quite popular. So after rugby and cricket, so we've got quite a few sports that are popular in New Zealand. So and hockey sort of around the top 5, I would say.
In countries like mine here in the Netherlands, but we see that also for different reasons. Like for example, in the US, we see that the growth of hockey is mainly because of girls and women entering the sport. How is the participation between men and women in a country like New Zealand?
Fairly even. It's a very huge female population playing hockey in New Zealand across all age groups, right from school up, going all the way up to masters hockey. So it's very, very well represented both across men and women in New Zealand.
Okay, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Jaspreet.
I have a, I have a question here for Jude. You were the coach of the Japan women's team as well in the past. How did you embrace the culture there, especially in a country where hockey is not among the top priority sports?
Yeah, I think it's really important to know the culture of the team that you're representing, and with Japan, the culture of respect and those kind of things. It's quite aligned to India, Pakistan. So the Asian sort of culture of respect for the older people and those kind of things. So I think you have to embrace the culture. You have to become a part of the culture if you want to get some success. So I tried my best to embrace the culture and incorporate it into the way we do as a team. Language was a good barrier, but just trying to participate and be involved in whatever the rest of the group does goes a long way in supporting what you're trying to achieve with the group.
Mm-hmm.
My next question for Ijaz, he has already answered that, so we will give it a pass. And Ernst, you can have a go.
Exactly. Yeah. So, what do we need, Ijaz, for the game to grow back in Pakistan? Because, yeah, as you already mentioned, there have been some nice results in recent Asia Cup and under 21s and the under 18s, but that was also part due to a lack of competition that was there, as you mentioned. Um, and sometimes people take that as a growth, sign of growth or a sign of the revival of the sport. So, but what do you really need in Pakistan to grow the game back domestically and internationally? And maybe even also both men and women, if that's not a too touchy subject. Um, but then also, how do you do this in a sustainable way so that we can stop talking about the pride that Pakistan has of the results of the past century, which were amazing, and that was lovely hockey to see. But how can we have long-term plans and a vision to grow the game in the future of Pakistan?
I start with the basic problem. First, as I indirectly mentioned before, it is the right persons at the top. That is the main requirement, right? And you're supposed to know that the prime minister is the patron in chief. He nominates a person as the president. That is his discretion. And then there's a formality that he gets votes from the Congress of the Pakistan. Okay, that should change. Um, Maybe the Senate, the upper house, they have their standing committee on sports. So that they may be having the right to nominate, and there will proper job specifications, and that person should take. So it's has to start from the right person, dedicated, visionary person at the top two slots. That is the president and the secretary to run. That is the most important thing, and then things can go forward. Now, in Pakistan, Jaspreet and Jude, must be as in India also, there are departments which offer jobs. They have their teams, not in Europe, like the PIL, International Airlines, some banks. That as almost all of them had closed their sports department. That is also because of the IMF pressure, that internet that you have right sizing, downsizing in public sector. So, what's the alternative? That, as you Jaspreet knows it very well, the cricket people, Jude also, that Pakistan has a premier PSL cricket in Premier Super Pakistan Super League. So uh, we, the world talks about that. That was initiated back in 2017 as in the federation, that they're going to have a franchise-based hockey league on the pattern of ESL or India's IPL. And you'll be surprised to know that two owners of teams, the cricket team in the PSL, they showed interest to buy a team in hockey. One was this cricket gladiators, and that of Shahbar Zalmi, and even a
I
Pakistani
think I think
group.
sorry to interrupt you, Ijaz here, but I think Zalmi guys, they had a sponsor called Hire, of course, which was ready to sponsor the hockey league as well, but it backed out in the last few days, right?
Since I was there, and even some Pakistanis in Canada, some Pakistan in the UAE, they expressed their interest. But when they saw the things were being run in the PHF, that president at that time, the Brigadier Khalis Abad Khokar, believe you me, he lived in Islamabad and he used to come to the office in Lahore on average 2 days in 3 months, right? And they had a chap who was the head of the finance. And once I asked him for some figures and data when we were applying for this pro league. I needed because they had a very long application form. And I was astonished that guy, his arithmetic, believe you me, was poorer than a grade 8 boy. So this chap, Bobby Rifai, we call him Badr Rifai. He is considered as the best marketing man in Pakistan sports. He is with the cricket board, and he's also done marketing for some other minor sports. He was also coming to the PHF of his post case, and he used to fit with me, and he was also astonished to see the environment. And I said, I am only a media man. I am not executive. What can I do? And they all ran away. So again, coming back, which I have been repeating again, and it might seem a rhetoric to you, that we have to have some good professional people at the top. And as things are run all over the world, then they have a good finance, commercial wing, marketing wing, coaching wing, and then this league that is impost. So it will bring people's interest, as in PSL, some money for the players, and do something for the people. They watch their teams, and then people develop affiliation for their teams, regional teams like Lahore, Karachi, Peshawar.
I think it will be right to mention the name of Dar Hockey Academy in Lahore here, which has been running for quite some time. Very well managed, almost being a nursery of the Pakistan hockey. Beside the Gojra guys.
Yes, but Bar Hockey Academy, I may dare say, it is perhaps a unique thing in the world. Topudar, Olympic gold medalist, he started in 2006 with 7 boys. When they started recruiting people from outside Lahore, this Gojra, KP, and some places, even I had not heard of the names. And through sponsorship, and even in Pakistan, when people say that money is being spent in the right way, plus the reserves, of course, then the people they do donate and we do give money. And 2009 was the year when their boys got selected for the first time for Pakistan unit at under 18. 2013, their first boy, the pure product of that. And now, in the last this under 18 Asia Cup, which finished last month, there were 5 boys. And the sponsor, Kopir, is getting sponsorship from private sector. I convinced a couple of my friends who are doing very well in abroad. They are now donating every month. Pakistani abroad, they are giving them. They have a hostel in Lahore where the outstation boys they live there. They provided free boarding, lodging, and every day they have the training by coaching panel, which is headed by some Olympian or World Cupper all the time. They have made 6 tours of Holland. Thrice they also went to Belgium. Thrice they also went to Germany. And their first tour was to India back in 2010, I think, in Punjab, this Maharaja Ranjit Singh. And once they have went to Malaysia. And Turkey doesn't get any funding from the government or the federation. all through private sponsor. And they have been holding so many channels that even in 2012, when you can say the terrorism was at its worst in Pakistan, team from Holland called Flying Dutch Veterans, they had World Cup winners, Olympic gold medalists. They came to Pakistan. They played three exhibition matches in Lahore, which were very well attended. And the Dutch, they also sent a shipment which to Pakistan, the hundreds of hockey balls, 100 sticks, about more than 30. You know, the goalkeeping kit is very expensive. Yeah? And he even this clubs, it needed them. So,
Yeah.
you see, then the job specification, in my opinion, or someone to be Sakshi in the PHF or the president, what are you doing at grassroots? Can you do? Yes, talking fix that. Sponsorship, you can bring, yes. You can arrange major hockey nation, yes. You can bring team from there, yes. So he takes the boss. And you are supposed to know over the last few years, a couple of times he had offered to come as a secretary, but he will only do if the president is also there on the same wavelength. He can't be secretary with people like Gupti or the former like Cook. And I'm sure if he is given the chance, he can bring some big the strike move of Pakistan as the president. So
Yeah.
money won't be a problem. So
Yeah.
he is one person I think can turn around the fortunes of Pakistan if given the opportunity.
Yeah. Jude, you must have had some numerous memorable moments as a goalkeeper for India against Pakistan. Um, what do you think needs to change, not just for Pakistan, but in a more broader sense of the Asian hockey? Because okay, we know that the way we play hockey here in Western Europe, that is not feasible to organize it in the same way in other parts of the world. So what needs to happen in Pakistan, but also in other parts of Asia to grow the game of hockey, according to you?
Yeah, I think like back in the day when there was like Korea was very strong. So like Korea was one of the top
Right.
teams in Asia. So we need Korea, we need Pakistan. India is already in at the top at the moment, or there and thereabouts. So we need more of like growing up, I watched a lot of India Pakistan matches, and you saw a lot of those games. That works as an aspiration piece for a younger player to aspire to play for your country, to play,
Yeah.
thing.
True.
And similarly, you need teams like Malaysia to come back into the fray, and we need these teams back on top. So that will grow Asian hockey a little bit more, create more interest in people stepping up. At the moment, the teams, except for India, none of the other Asian teams are in the top 10. So that makes it a little bit difficult for young players to aspire.
No, exactly. And looking ahead at the World Cup, which is next year already. So the participants from the Pan Am region are known just now. It's Argentina. That's no surprise. USA for the women.
Yes.
But the European Championships are about to start. We are recording this on Tuesday, August 5th, but we will be publishing this podcast the day that when the European Championship is already ongoing. So we will have new participants from Europe from that as well. Then the Asia Cup is just around the corner to determine which Asian countries will join the World Cup. Um, Jude, will you be watching the Euros? But will you also be following the Asia Cup? And who do you think will qualify and why?
Yeah, definitely be watching those games. So it's going to be really exciting
Yeah.
watching, especially the Euros. For me, I find the Euros are the toughest competition. So I get very excited watching it. I was fortunate to be in Mönchengladbach in 2023 to watch it live. And it's always a tough competition. But with the Netherlands, Belgium, especially with the men, they've already qualified. Depends to see whether the strongest teams will play or will they try new combinations. But yeah, I'm excited with Spain, to be honest. Spain's really been very impressive, and it's a
Yes.
team to watch. So It's hard to say who's going to win it because any of these European top 4 European teams can win this competition on the day.
Yeah,
In
exactly.
Asia again, India is the strongest team in the men's competition. So I think it'll be a surprise if somebody defeats India at this point of time. So I think India should go through there. But again, it's sport and anything can happen.
No, exactly. And for the women's in Asia?
In Asia, China is very strong, as we know.
Yeah.
So China is probably strong. So it'll be between China, India, Korea, Japan. These will be the top 4. And then I think I would put China down as favorites on current form.
Yeah.
And India is sort of second on current form.
No, exactly. What do you think if we can expand a little bit upon that, because we just had the news that Michel van den Heuvel, a famous Dutch coach, is going to be involved in coaching the men from China. So China has made enormous leaps and bounds when Alison Annan and Rick Charlesworth took on the women of that nation. They're now, I think, 4th in the world. Played the finals of Paris. So extremely well. What do you think that a coach like Michel van den Heuvel in a giant country like China with all its means, can he produce something there?
Yes. I'm pretty sure he will. You'll have to give him a reasonable amount of time because the Chinese men's team is quite good. As we watched in the Asia Cup, I think they played in the finals of the Asian Champions Trophy and in Inner Mongolia not too long ago, and India beat them 1-0 in the final.
Okay.
So it's a reasonably strong team. Yeah, and with Michel taking over the team, we know how good a taskmaster Michel is. China's provincial hockey is very strong, so they have the funds. So they do have the funds to support a really strong program, as they've proved in the women's on the women's side. So I think in an Olympic cycle, you would see China really pushing forward. So not 2028, but 2032. I think they will be a strong contender.
Okay, that's
Who
cool to know.
referred Michel to China, by the way?
Yeah, don't know.
If I knew that, I would place all the coaches in the world. No, I'm guessing that the relationship with Alison Annan is there. Obviously, Alison Annan living in Amsterdam, so they know each other. I think Take Takema has been involved with the Chinese women, so the Dutch former drag flicker. He knows Michel van den Heuvel very well, so I guess that will be the connections that introduced Michel. But in all honesty, Michel van den Heuvel does not need a lot of introduction. People around the world know who he is in the world of hockey. So
yes.
okay, guys. I think Jaspreet, unless you have a follow-up question, I think this is it for our talk today.
Yes, I believe the different time zones that we are in don't allow us to go on, even if we don't want to stop talking hockey, right?
Yeah, we never want to stop talking hockey, but then life gets in the way sometimes. So thank you, Jaspreet, and especially thank you, Jude and Ijaz, for joining us to share your views on our great game of hockey. Guys, thanks for listening to Studio Hockey. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast so you will not miss out on our next episodes. Until then, happy hockey. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.